the mother of the sons of Zebedee, who are James and John. Okay, so those are the two of the three that went with Jesus up to the mountain at the Transfiguration. She's the one that goes to Jesus and asks that her sons be exalted. That one sits at his left and one sits at the right in the kingdom, meaning having positions of power and authority. And Jesus telling the mother of these two sons, telling the mother, you don't know what you're asking for. She doesn't know it, but she's asking for her sons to be martyrs, right? She doesn't realize, Jesus, you don't realize what you're asking. The rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and the great ones make their authority over them felt. Notice the language, the critique. First of all, the critique that Jesus is saying that fallen human nature and power do not mix well together. It's like oil and vinegar, or water and vinegar, or water and oil. How about that one? Water and oil. Oil and vinegar is what you put on your salads, okay? Water and oil don't mix well, right? The oil sits on top, But notice the language of over them. Did you catch that? Human nature, the fallen human nature and power, when it acquires power, what is the tendency to do? It's to be on top with those without power on the bottom, and then to squeeze down on the powerless. That's what we tend to do when we acquire power. We squeeze, we crush those below us. We crush their spirits. And we want the power because we think then it gets us freedom. That we're free to do it. And that's just the history of the human person. They acquire power, eventually going to use that power to crush. The Gentiles lord it over them, and the great ones make their authority over them felt. I have the power. Crush. But it's not human, believe it or not. We desire it, but it's not even how the human person functions. And what can happen is then we project that onto God, who is the only one that has the absolute authority and power in our lives. But we project that crushing mentality upon us that this is what God does to us. He crushes us. He gives us morality and a moral life to crush our freedom. That's how we see it. That's how we view it. And so God's like, look, I have to teach you about who I am. And so that's what the incarnation, that's what Jesus Christ, God in the flesh, is all about. To reveal the mysteries of God. And so when Jesus says, whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave, he's not just arbitrarily saying that because it sounds great and it sounds nice and it sounds kind. He's not just saying it arbitrarily. No, it comes and it flows from his very nature of who he is and how he acts. Okay? He's revealing everything he does is a revelation of who God is. Think of it. You are my scripture scholars out here. All right? Two instances I have in mind when Jesus, his body is physically lower. Okay, one instance, Jesus is lower than his disciples. And then there's another moment in his life when he is raised above them. What are those two moments? The washing of the feet, when he's down below the disciples, and then exalted on the cross when he takes his throne above high and is now looking down at us. Okay? Notice those two moments right there. He has come to serve. That true power is about giving of yourself to the other. And that's where authentic human freedom comes from. The ability to lay aside one's own needs and wants and to better enhance the life of the other. That's how power is meant to be used. Because the ultimate source of any power that we have in life comes from God. And that's who God is. So again, now let's tie it into our Lenten Companion series, right? The same thing. What are we asking? We're asking God to give us a lot. Because all God is, he's not crushing with his power, but he wants to give. He literally is, in his mindset, our servant, our slave. He's asking us, though, to return that back to him. Because that's how we're created. That's how we're made. And that's what true life is. Okay? It's about a life of servitude. We come, we worship, we give ourselves to God, but guess what? God has given so much more back to us. So when you go to those events of Holy Thursday and Good Friday, Jesus is humbled, lowered, and then exalted in his passion and his death. He shows us what true power is. Obviously, the 12 don't get it in this story. People in general don't get it. It's the human tendency to want to crush. But the real source of life and power is all about being a gift. May God bless you.